She thought this would be the last normal morning of her life. Coffee was still warm in the cup. Sunlight came through the kitchen window. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Her husband's keys were still on the counter. His phone was face down, and the silence felt heavier than it ever had before. That's when she realized something was wrong. Not with the house, with herself. Because deep down, she already knew she was never going home again. Her name was Laura Mitchell, 34 years old, married for 7 years, no criminal record, no history of violence. To the outside world, she was ordinary. But ordinary lives sometimes hide the darkest secrets. The night before, Laura and her husband Daniel had argued. Nothing dramatic, no screaming that neighbors could hear, no broken plates, just words, quiet words, the kind that cut deeper than shouting. Daniel had finally said what Laura feared most. "I know." He didn't explain. He didn't need to. Laura felt it in her chest. Her hands went cold, because secrets like hers don't survive being known. That night, they went to bed without another word. Daniel fell asleep. Laura didn't. She stared at the ceiling, listening, waiting. At some point, she got out of bed. She stood in the doorway, watching him sleep, breathing slow, peaceful. She told herself she had no choice. She told herself this was survival. In the morning, Daniel didn't wake up. The official report would later say it was a tragic accident, a fall, a blunt force injury, no signs of struggle. Laura told the police she found him that way. She cried. She shook. She said all the right things. And for a while it worked. But guilt doesn't stay quiet. It waits. The first night after the funeral, Laura tried to sleep. She couldn't. Every sound felt louder. Every shadow felt closer. She kept thinking she heard footsteps. She kept checking the door. That's when the thought came back, clearer than before. You are not going home. Not really. The house didn't feel like hers anymore. Daniel's absence was everywhere, in the empty chair, in the quiet mornings, in the questions people hadn't asked yet. Police said the case was closed, but Laura noticed things. A car parked across the street too often, a neighbor who suddenly avoided eye contact, a detective who called just to check in. She started making mistakes, small ones, contradictions in her story, times that didn't line up, details she couldn't remember. At night, she replayed everything in her head, the argument, the silence, the moment she crossed the line she could never uncross. She thought about leaving, running, starting over somewhere new, but guilt travels faster than distance. And then came the knock on the door, not loud, not urgent, just calm, professional. 2 detectives. They asked if they could come in. Laura said yes. She always said yes. They sat at the table where Daniel used to drink his coffee. They didn't accuse her. They didn't raise their voices. They asked questions she'd already answered, and then asked them again, differently. That's when Laura realized they weren't looking for the truth. They already had it. They were watching her, waiting. That night, Laura packed a bag. Not much, just essentials, clothes, documents, cash. She stood in the bedroom, looking around. This was the last time she would see this place as a free woman. She didn't know when, but she knew it was coming. Sleep never came. Morning arrived too fast. At 6:14 a.m., her phone rang. Detective Harris. He asked her to come down to the station, just to clear a few things up. Laura knew what that meant. She drove slowly, too slowly. Every red light felt longer. Every mile felt heavier. She parked, sat in the car, hands on the wheel. This was the moment. Once she walked inside, nothing would ever be the same. Inside the interrogation room, time lost its meaning. The lights were too bright, the air too still, They showed her photos. They played audio. They mentioned things only Daniel would have known, things Laura had never told anyone. Her face stayed calm. But inside, something broke. She stopped pretending. Not out loud, but in her mind. This is it. I am never going home. When they finally told her she was under arrest, she felt relief. Not fear. Relief. Because the waiting was over. The pretending was done. As they led her away, Laura glanced at the exit. Sunlight streamed through the glass doors. People walked freely outside. She would never be one of them again. In court, the story unraveled. The motive, the lies, the cracks in her version of events. The jury listened. The verdict came quickly. Guilty. As the sentence was read, Laura didn't cry. She nodded, as if she had expected this all along. That night, in a cell far from the house she once called home, Laura lay awake, staring at another ceiling, listening to unfamiliar sounds. And for the first time, she stopped running. Because the truth she had tried to escape was simple. Some choices don't end lives. They end futures. And the moment Laura realized she would never go home was the moment she truly understood what she had done.